If you ever feel like your videos are just not cinematic enough or attracting any attention, well, listen up, because this is why. Because you see, cinematic videos have one thing in common. They all have cinematic compositions that looks pleasing to the eye. So how you compose and frame your shots is actually extremely important in conveying storytelling and emotions. So here are 5 key composition techniques that could instantly elevate your videos to the next level. So the first technique is to use foreground to add depth into your shot. This was something that we've learned at the start of our journey, and we have used this technique in every one of our shoots ever since. Let me give you an example. Recently, we've done a lifestyle commercial shoot for a ski lodge. If you look at the footage, there's a lot of shots where I use foreground as the element. This really adds a lot of variety to my footage, and at the end of the day, when it comes down to editing, it just means I have a lot more shots to play with. If you're filming a couple on their wedding day, don't just get them in a frame. Pick out a bush or an array of flowers that you can use as the foreground in your shot. If you're filming a corporate event, use the back of people's heads or bodies as the foreground. Don't be afraid to get creative about it, because practice makes perfect, and over time, this technique will become second nature to you. The second technique is using the right lens to separate your subject from the background. Because one of the most common mistakes I see a lot of beginners make is that they use a wide lens to shoot everything. As a result, the footage often looks amateurish. Kinda looks like it's been shot with an iPhone and isn't anywhere as cinematic as they want it to be. But there's a really easy fix to this. You just need to be shooting at a tighter focal length. I'm talking about anywhere between 35mm and 200mm. Because the tighter your focal length is, the more your subject is separated from the background. And you can often tell this by how blurry your background is compared to your subject. Just look at the comparison here between the 24mm and the 50mm. Which of these shots look more cinematic? Now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't use a wide focal length. In fact, they're perfect for real estate shoots, vlogging, or establishing the environment the subject is in. But remember, if you want to separate your subject from the background, you want to be shooting from a focal length of 35mm and onwards. Number 3. Actually, you know what? Before we get on to number 3, I want to let you in on a little secret. You know how we got our videography business to 6 figures? Well, our journey wasn't easy, and we often find ourselves clueless to what we should do next. And you're probably feeling the same way as well. You're passionate about making videos, but sometimes you just don't know what to do to get yourself to the next level. Well, that's why we created the Filmmaker Starter Kit. It contains a clear roadmap of how we started, all the way to the point where we built a successful 6-figure video production business. In this kit, you'll find email templates, sales proposals, production templates, and more. And for those of you who's serious about turning videography into a business, we do offer one-on-one coaching where we provide hours of personalized guidance and advice so that you can reach your dream goal faster. Composition technique number 3 is to look out for leading lines. So this isn't the easiest technique to do, but once I break it down and show you how it's done, you're gonna master it in no time. If you watch any of Wes Anderson films like The Grand Budapest Hotel or Asteroid City, you'll find that there's a lot of symmetrical looking shots. It looks super aesthetic and pleasing to the eye. And this is because symmetric shots contain lines that naturally lead your eyes to the subject. Now, you can use leading lines in non-symmetrical shots as well, such as in interviews where I often shoot towards the corners of the room. So when I put my subject in the frame, you can see that there's leading lines that leads the audience eyes naturally to the subject. So to execute this technique, the first thing you need to do is just to put your camera down and look around your environment. Observe if there's any potential lines or symmetry that you could do with your shots. And if you do find spots that piques your interest, hold your camera up so that you can see what it looks like in the frame. Don't be afraid to direct your subject to stand in the frame as well so that you can get a better idea of what your shot looks like. Honestly, go out and try it for yourself. Experiment and see what kind of leading lines you can get for your shots. Number 4 is to mix up your subject placement. Don't be that guy who always places his subject right in the middle of the frame. Because if you do that for every shot, that's gonna get very boring real fast. The next time you shoot, try placing your subject on the sides of your frame. Utilize the previous techniques that we've talked about and you're gonna get some nice creative compositions. However, when you're doing this, I highly recommend using the rule of thirds lines that's inbuilt inside your camera. These lines are specifically built to help you with your composition. When you're placing your subjects on the side, make sure to place them on one of these lines. If they're outside of these lines, there's a high chance that your composition just will not work. Now, let me show you how this technique can be used in several different situations. First are interviews. You want to be placing your subject on the side of the frame, but they're looking towards the other side. Again, a good way to check if your composition is right is to make sure your subject is on one of the lines. And if I'm shooting a shot where I want to showcase something else in the frame, I would also put my subject on the side. Lastly, if my subject is facing towards one side, it's always a general rule to leave more negative space on the side the subject is facing. This just makes the composition feel more natural. Here's a bonus tip that will make sure that you get perfect composition every time you go on a shoot. And this is something that we do time and time again. And that is to create a shot list before you go on a shoot. We found having a shot list so useful because when we're on a shoot, we know exactly what composition to get in our shots. So here's how we do it. In pre-production, we would find around 3 to 5 reference videos that we're gonna use for this shoot. We'll then go through each of these reference videos and screenshots the shots that we like. We'll put together all these screenshots into a document and bring it with us during our shoot day so that we can always get our composition right. So the next time you're preparing for a shoot, create a shot list. If you're serious about taking your videography to the next level, then you need to watch this video. This video is about the 10 things I wish I knew when I first started out as a beginner. If you're new to this channel, click like and subscribe because we release new videos every week that will elevate your videography. Anyways, we'll talk soon. Stay focused.